Well, Emily, it's so good to see you
Thank
in person.
you.
I feel like every time we've talked has been like over Zoom. So
I know.
It's so good to see
I enjoy in person. I feel like it's better.
I do too. Well, this has been a roller coaster of a season so far.
Right.
What's it been like for you watching back?
Oh my gosh, this question. Always because I don't actually watch back.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, Shane does.
Okay. And he reports
then
back?
He reports to me. And he's very good at reporting to me because he does not give me any grace at all. Like, he will watch it and he gives me bullet points. And he's like, I can't believe you did that. And you shouldn't have done that. And why did you say that? So I get like a very honest viewpoint.
All right. So what's been the bullet points this season that he's...
The peeing in the bush was like a big thing with him. Like, that really bothered him. He was really annoyed by it. And I was like, I was like, really? Out of all the things I do and say, that's what bothers you? And he's like, yes, it does.
But I've never related to you more in that moment.
I don't know. You know, I didn't even remember that I had done that. But I was trying to explain. It was basically like twofold. One, I'm from Ohio. And I grew up in the country. Sure. So that was like very normal.
It is.
And two, the audience doesn't realize that I got stuck in that Sprinter van for a long time when they're like miking people and waiting for everybody to come, and then they had to wait for the other location to be ready, and they weren't ready. So I was just, you know, I couldn't hold it any longer.
Desperate times.
Yeah.
It happens.
Right.
Well, it's been, I watched this this week's episode, and this week's episode it's a lot. You know, we have this dinner, Gina's dinner.
That dinner.
Yes, that dinner. What was kind of going through your mind during that dinner when it was just like everybody kind of going after Shannon?
You know, I feel badly for Shannon. I do think there's a certain amount of critique that she does deserve just because of the things that she's gone through and the choices that she's made. And I think she knows that and she's aware of that. And I think she's trying to make amends with that, and she's trying to be better and do better. But I think it's very difficult to do better and be better when people are just relentlessly coming after you. And so I feel badly for her for that too.
Yeah. Did you agree with Tamra when she was like, you're an alcoholic, you should have been in rehab?
You know, I do agree, and I think I've told Shannon that before. I don't know in what setting, I don't remember exactly, but we've had a conversation, and I said, don't you think you should be sober? I think you should be sober. And she said, well, I've talked to my therapist, and this, all I think you can do is say, I think this, but then ultimately it has to come from her. It has to be her decision. It has to be what she thinks she should do, because otherwise if she's pressured into it, it's not something that's going to last.
Right. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Are you surprised at the way that things have unfolded between Tamra and Shannon?
I am, because I know going into it, I feel like even after the DUI, Tamra was supportive of Shannon, and then they were doing the Tres Amigas together, and then there was that falling out. But then I did understand Tamra's point of view, where she didn't want to be involved in it because she thought that it was not a good look because it revolved around alcohol, and Shannon had just gotten a DUI. So I understood that, but I was hoping that's something that they could come out of. I just don't feel like they got out of that. Like, there hasn't been a resolution.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What did you make of Tamra kind of like going at her? I think Gina says, like, I understand what you're doing, but I don't really understand the point of this.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I think that the complexity of the relationship between Shannon and Tamra is way deeper than any of us realize. I mean, it's been over 10 years. There's been a lot of ups and downs between them. I think they've shared a lot of information that maybe we aren't privy to. And so I think it's more complex than how it looks to us. So I understand maybe that's where that deep-seated anger comes from, where it's from a place where we're not really privy to that. So I get it. But I also think that Tamra also probably needs to take a step back and realize that the aggressiveness isn't working, that sometimes you have to try a different route.
Sure. Yeah.
But then I also don't want to be a hypocrite, because I can be very aggressive when I'm provoked or when I disagree with something. So I understand that side of her too.
You had me like laughing with the Vicky being the voice of reason at the end, and you're like, roll the tape.
Yeah, right. I know. I mean, I love Victoria because I find her so amusing, and I love the things that she says because they're so ridiculous sometimes. But then I love the fact that instead of apologizing or saying like, "Oh, that wasn't," she'll just double down.
Yes.
And I don't know. I respect her delusion.
So Don't we all?
I really do.
I love that so much. You made such a good point because when Alexis was like, I want to be friends with Shannon, you were like, well, you can't come here with receipts if you want to be friends with somebody.
Right.
Where do you think do you really think Alexis wanted to be friends with Shannon?
You know, that's the thing with Alexis, and I think that was what was bothering me, was I never had a problem with Alexis being with John.
Yeah.
And then the first group outing we went to, which was Heather's party at the Balboa Bay Club, I actually rode there with Alexis. And I felt like on the way there, she was very reasonable. She was like, I don't want to fight with Shannon. I don't want to, I don't want to be in a bad place with her. And I was like, okay, well, that's a mature, aspect. Sure. That's, but then we get there. And it's like she says one thing, but then she acts completely different. She'll say, I want to be friends, but then she'll humiliate her. Yeah. She'll say, I just want to get along with this woman, but then she'll constantly talk about John in front of her. And it's like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't
make sense, yeah. Do you feel like it was like mean at times? Do you think she meant to be mean?
Yeah, I mean, when you show up at a dinner and there are a bunch of people there and you have copies of receipts, right? There's nothing else except you're just trying to humiliate her.
Yeah. Do you feel like John is the term that we always use with him, love bombing her?
I mean, I think so. I also think they have a good relationship. I mean, I do think that they really deeply are in love and care about each other. And I don't think anybody really has a problem with that. I think the problem is the constant feeling like we all have to jump on board and accept them and realize that Shannon was the problem and not him. And that can't happen by being forced down your throat. It has to happen over time, organically, and I think that's where she goes wrong.
Right. What did you make of this $75,000 loan?
I was actually shocked by it. I didn't know anything about it. And Shannon, for 3 or 4 years or however long she was dating John, always told me, even on the down low when she probably shouldn't have been telling me, but after some margaritas, she would tell me a lot of things about their relationship, and it was always how scared she was that she was always paying for things, and she didn't, she was concerned about the future because she didn't know if he could support her, and we all know shows are temporary. We don't know how long we're going to be on them, and I think that was a concern of hers, was that she was the one that was footing the bill for everything. And she told me this multiple times, and it wasn't just me. Like, I mean, if I compare notes with Heather or with Gina, it's the same thing. Yeah. So I think collectively we all just had this understanding that she was spending a lot of money on this relationship, and we felt badly for her. So then when those receipts came out, I was like, that's a lot of money, that's a lot of money. And that's maybe a piece that you failed to mention. So I was kind of irritated when that first came out. But then, I have a conversation with her later, and, I do look at it from a point of view where not everybody wants to talk about the things that they've had done or work they've had done. They don't want to advertise it. In her mind, I think she felt like maybe he was paying her back because she had spent so much money in the relationship. Yeah. So once I heard her point of view and I heard things from her side, I felt like it was just more of a way to humiliate her.
Yeah, I know. It seems like that. Are you surprised that maybe Alexis doesn't see these as like little red flags here and there? Or is he like completely different?
I don't think she sees any flags.
Sure,
I think she's in love, and I think she's just there to defend him, and she's his biggest fan, and she's there, to crusade for him. And I think that's probably a misstep on her part. I think she probably should have come into the group maybe trying to make friends and establish relationships. And Gina didn't know her at all. Maybe just get to know Gina. I knew her for years. We have mutual friends. But I feel like I saw a completely different Alexis. I had always known her as like a girl's girl and very sweet. And then to see this other side of her where I felt like her main goal was just to sabotage Shannon and to make her look bad. Like that's sad.
Yeah, it is. It is sad. It is. Well, I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. I was speaking to Heather last week, and she did say that she was a little disappointed in how you and Tamra reacted to that news.
Oh, I know. I got a text.
You got a text. You did get a text. Okay.
Well, I don't really watch the episodes, and she knows that. Heather has always known that. And Gina told me, she was like, Heather's mad at you. And I was like, okay. I mean, it's kind of a common occurrence. And then Tamra was like, yeah, she's mad at us or whatever. And so I did text her, but I texted her to also keep perspective on the show and us collectively as a group of friends. I feel like we all did a very good job globally of being vulnerable, of putting ourselves out there, of being opinionated. And at the end of the day, whether or not she calls the paparazzi on herself, is it really life-altering? Is it that egregious? Do I think badly of her? Do I think anything differently of her? No. I thought it was funny and superficial, and I thought it was something that she would laugh at.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did she respond to you?
She did.
Okay.
I mean, we had to have a few of the like going back and forth, and then we finally got to the okay, well, let's get together.
Okay.
And so yeah,
So
we
that's
worked
where
it
we
out.
are.
Yeah.
Do you believe that she did call the paparazzi?
I don't, people ask me that question, and sometimes I think yes.
Sure.
And when I think yes, it's not because I think anything negatively about her. It's because I think she's famous.
Yeah.
And her husband is famous. And they live in LA, and he's on a TV show, and she's on a TV show. And I think that makes sense for them in their world. And so if I say yes, it's just because of who they are.
Who they are, yeah.
Right. And I think she takes that as like I'm saying something negative about her, and it's not.
It's not, yeah.
Right.
Did Katie get in herself way too deep?
Yeah, I think so. And I knew that from the beginning, but I had not hopes because I don't want anyone to make Heather look bad.
Yeah.
But I just thought if you're going to go there, I remember telling her like you need to have your ducks in a row.
Sure, yeah.
Like she's I mean she's going to come at you
Sure.
hard. And so if I were Katie, I probably would have asked more questions to my contact. I would have had more information. I would have asked follow-up questions.
Sure, not just a single
I
word
wouldn't,
response.
yeah, like just yes. Like I thought the screenshot yes was compelling.
Sure.
I mean that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was clear and convincing. And so I really feel like if she was going to come at Heather and have this evidence, like she should have gotten more.
Yeah, she should have consulted a lawyer.
Right. But not me. Because I don't even want to have my hands on that.
Don't even touch it. It does seem like you and Heather kind of go at it later on this season. And I think like you and say that, she made you feel a certain way about your weight. Can you kind of give a little context about what that is?
And I do want to make it clear, and I think I say this in multiple conversations, but she didn't do anything malicious, and she didn't do anything with intent, and she didn't do anything to make me feel badly. It was just circumstances at the fashion show when we're in Sonoma. I felt a certain way. I got very upset. I had to have one of those moments where I had to go into the bathroom and I had to cry a little bit. And then I composed myself because it was for charity. So I was like, there's no way that I'm going to make this about me, So Heather had no idea that anything was even wrong.
Yeah.
So I tried to have a conversation later after the fact, and it just does not go well.
Does not go well.
No.
Yeah. How are the two of you now?
We're fine. I mean, I think so.
Sure.
I mean, maybe if you ask her.
Right, yeah.
But no, I think we are. I feel as if Heather and I have a very solid foundation. I care about her deeply. I consider her a very good friend. I admire her. I ask her a lot of questions about parenting because I really respect her as a mom. And yet when she and I have misfires, it's because we're just two fundamentally different people.
Sure, yeah.
I joke. I take the dig. I've been married to Shane for 15 years. That's how we communicate. So sometimes I get comfortable around Heather and I think that I can communicate with her like that and that she'll be fine. And then I realize, no, she's not.
Can't do it.
No.
Gotta approach it a totally different way. Yeah. Is Shane getting healthy?
No.
No.
No, he's not. He still hasn't gone to the doctor.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to force him. Like I'm gonna have to do one of those like wife forceful texts where it's like, I'm not coming home until you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
So Shane just lives life freely and he just gets up every morning and he gets his big gulp and he has like no problems in the world. He's just Shane. And it's like me, I'm always the one that's like, you need to go to the gym and you need to stop eating In-N-Out every day. And can you not drink so many? And he's just happy as a clam and
living his best life.
Living his best life, yeah.
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, are you still as in the gym as much as you had been? Okay.
Yeah, or even more. It's very obsessive, but I feel like it's a healthy obsessive because I've kind of loosened up a little bit on food. I was very restrictive with food too, and I've tried to kind of loosen that up a little. And so, I mean, for me, it's just a lifestyle now.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying earlier, it's like you brush your teeth and you go to work and you go to the gym. Like that, it's just become embedded
Part of your routine.
in who I am now. And so, I mean, it's good. It's a healthy habit to have.
Yeah, there's worse things to have.
Right.
Yeah, no,
it's not, I
totally.
don't snort cocaine, so I just go to the gym a lot.
Go to the gym. Do you feel like you're at the place where you feel your best?
I feel good. I still have goals. I think when you start working out really seriously and you're at the gym a lot, you know, you see other women and women that are training for fitness competitions. And so I look at them and think, oh, I'd like to look like that. Okay. So I feel like I'm always goal oriented to be better, be stronger, you know.
You're training for a fitness competition?
No, I don't think I could ever do it.
Okay, yeah. That's a
I mean,
lot of
I've had a lot of people ask me.
Yeah.
But I don't think mentally I could handle it. I mean, I can't even handle a fashion show in Sonoma. I couldn't handle a fitness competition.
I know you've been open about your taking Ozempic in the past. Did you ever revisit that again, or are you just?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that I wouldn't.
Sure,
I just haven't had to because it was so successful for me that it really allowed me, the brief time that I was on, I really changed a lot of my eating habits, and that food noise was gone. And so I came out of it just making really good choices, and I stuck with that.
That's great.
And so, you know, I'm a little bit heavier than I was the same time last year, but I'm okay with that. You know, I feel like you have to have balance, you have to be happy, you have to share a dessert with your husband every once in a while. Definitely. You know, I still drink coffee every morning. So I just feel like I found a good balance. Yeah.
That's
but
great.
I don't want to shame anyone who would use it or say I wouldn't do it again, because if I felt like I was getting out of control, or I was having all those cravings again and I wasn't being able to control it, I probably would do it again.
Yeah, no. Well, you look absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate
really
it.
do. And you, like you said, 15 years together.
Yeah.
What would you say that your secret is, and why do you think, like, because obviously we see some struggles in the previous seasons, but it seems like you guys are like stronger than ever. How did you kind of get over that hump? And would you say that you are stronger than ever?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think Shane and I are probably in the best space we've ever been in 15 years. I just think that like long-term marriages, there's always ups and downs. And so we had downtime the first 2 years I was on the show. And so unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, you can look at it either way, we were sharing our lives at the time, and it wasn't great. It was really difficult. I didn't know if we were going to make it, but now we get to share with the world that we did, and that we're strong and we're committed to each other. And I really think the reason that Shane and I have been together so long is because he's funny.
Yeah. He makes you laugh.
Yeah. I mean, because he can make me really upset and really mad, but he's also really funny.
Okay.
So I think if there's humor in the relationship and you can laugh at each other, and you can find humor in situations with kids and money and dealing with all the things you deal with in a marriage, then it's nice. Yeah, you know?
That's good. As long as you can laugh at the end of the day, that's the key to everything. You know, I think the last time we spoke, we were talking about Jen and Ryan, and you said at the time that he was like a neon walking flag.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've changed my opinion on that.
I was going to say, have you changed your opinion on him?
Not really. Okay. But I also, you know, this is what I wish for Jen. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be with him. I think there's a lot of red flags there that she needs to be aware of, and maybe she is. I just hope that what she does is, because I know her divorce settled, and I think she gets some money every month and like a chunk of money. I just hope she takes that and she does smart things with it, and she creates her own life, and that she's independent. And then that way, when she's with Ryan, it's by choice and not by necessity.
Yeah. Was Gina too hard on her?
I don't think so, because I'm hard on her too, which is coming up. And I think Gina and I just saw things from a different perspective. I think other people can look at it and think Jen looks like a victim, but I don't ever see her as a victim. I see her as an adult with 5 kids that maybe made some irresponsible choices. And it's hard for me to see her in like a victim type of role.
Sure, yeah. What's the one thing that you're most looking forward to everybody seeing this season?
Oh my gosh, there's so much. Yeah. I mean, we haven't left Orange County yet.
No,
we still have to.
We're going to Big Bear soon.
I know, there's Big Bear, there's La Quinta, there's Sonoma, there's London. There's so much coming up. I think, I don't know, I can't even think of one thing. I mean, maybe London, just all the shenanigans going on, and when everybody comes together, and there's funny stuff that happens, there's crazy stuff that happens, there's shocking things that come out. It's a lot, but it's good.
It is. Yeah. I feel like this season it's really good.
It really is.
It really is. It really is. Well, Emily, thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
for having
by.
me. I appreciate it. Thank you.